Today we're doing 2022-2023 NBA Award player projections. And I just want to start out by saying that I'm just some guy named Morgan who doesn't have any friends who like basketball. This is ideally going to be my outlet for this. So I don't know anything. I'm wearing a Big Hero 6 shirt. Within reach, I've got this notebook that I've had for 2 years. On the outside, it says marketing and accounting book. On the inside, there's nothing. There's not a single page filled, except, and hang tight, that this book belongs to me. So in theory, if this book was lost, I guess they know to return my valuable empty notebook to me. But NBA superfan. I don't have any friends who like the NBA, and I'm so excited for this upcoming season, and I need someone to talk me out of Cole Anthony being the most improved player. I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast just a couple days ago, and they were talking about the different guards and potentially a Donovan Mitchell trade. I love Donovan Mitchell to the Magic. Just as a by the way, I've been on this for a while. The NBA trade subreddit, I have been killing with it, I feel like. I love Donovan Mitchell there. What is not perfect about Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and 4 first-round picks package for an elite scorer? I mean, what they need is a 3-level scorer to pair with the elite guard combination, or the elite forward combination of Franz and Paulo. I don't understand why it's not a perfect fit. I will say this, though. There are 3 guards in the Orlando Magic backcourt. Markelle Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony. Jalen Suggs is slotted in at the 2 guard spot, just on his own. His playmaking can improve. His shooting numbers in year 1 were terrible. I imagine he'll bounce back from that. He had a little bit of an injury issue. I think it was his ankle. Outside of that, you have to pick between Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony. And if Jalen Suggs is penciled in to the starting position and can't shoot, I don't understand why you don't go with the ceiling guy. Markelle Fultz is 24 years old, and I like him. I think he's a great player, but I don't understand why people aren't seeing the ceiling in Cole Anthony. 112 games played. This is a different colored notebook. I'd like to pretend that there's more in here, but there's only the page that I wrote 45 seconds ago. Cole Anthony, 112 total games played in his 2 years in the NBA. Field goal percentage of only 39%. Not great. Could be better. 33% from 3. Not awesome. His attempts, however, in season 2 doubled. He averaged 3 attempts per game in season 1 at 32%. Doubled to 6 attempts per game in season 2. Same percentage. There's no reason to believe that an 85% free throw shooter cannot recover. I really, really like Cole Anthony. He averaged 16 points per game last season on a terrible Magic team, is clearly the only guy aside from Wagner who could score. When you're adding Banchero, a second-year Wagner, and a Wendell Carter Jr. who is secure with a new contract, I don't get why he doesn't get more opportunities. Markelle Fultz showed a little bit of an improvement with his jump shot last year, but I mean, at age 24, we're really grasping at straws to make this Markelle thing work. I like Markelle. I think he's an excellent point guard. But I think if Jalen Suggs is penciled into the 2, the guy who has potential as a shooter and 3-level scorer just makes a lot more sense. And the Banchero pick, adding a playmaking forward that goes on top of the playmaking forward you got in the 7th pick last year, I think it's an excellent fit. You could afford to sacrifice some playmaking after adding Banchero. So why not take a ceiling pick with the 3rd-year, 22-year-old Cole Anthony? Most improved. I expect him to be the most improved player in the NBA. Someone talk me out of it. Rookie of the Year conversation, I feel like, is so hard to predict. Has anyone in any Rookie of the Year video they've ever made ever put together yeah, I think Dalen Terry is going to be the Rookie of the Year? Who's predicting someone who went outside of the top 10? If you know anybody, email me, text me. I'll put my number on here. I don't care. Is there anybody picking anybody outside of the top 10 for Rookie of the Year? Was there an Io DeSumo from last year that someone was like, this guy for sure? I feel like for Rookie of the Year, you have to exceed expectations. And if exceeding expectations is the number one variable in whether or not you get the reward, these non-lottery guys should be considered more. But I'm going to do a cop-out. Keegan Murray is my guy, and I think the Kings have a successful season. I, like everybody, love the offseason that they had. The adding of Kevin Huerter Jr., Malik Monk signed a 2-year, like $9 million per year contract. I think that's an excellent value. They need shooting. Keegan Murray can sort of provide that if his summer league performance indicates anything, but I think he's got a lot of grit. If he can go in and average even like 15, 4, and 2, something crazy like that, I think he's a lock for it. If the Kings make the playoffs, Keegan Murray is Rookie of the Year, and that's it. And that's the unfair advantage he has over anybody. Paulo could average 20 in year one, but if the Kings make the playoffs, I don't see how you don't give that award to Keegan Murray. And also, like, what's his name, Monty Brown? Michael Brown? I would say Marquise Brown, but I feel like that's not okay. We'll go with Michael Scott. The Kings coach, I feel like in year one, if Mike Brown can take the leap, then that's just good. That's so good. And I don't see how you don't give that to the Kings. So I've got 2 Kings players on here. I'll tease it. I don't have a King in here for the MVP. So just be with me for a minute. MVP. A lot of guys you got to consider for MVP this year. 28-year-old Embiid. If the Sixers get the 1 seed, I can really see an argument for that. He really feels like the MVP should have been his from last year. Jokic won't get it 3 years in a row. Giannis will be heavily considered if that team has any success, as he should be. And I just want to say, isn't it interesting that all these guys I've said so far are Eastern Conference guys? Let's add one more, Jayson Tatum. I don't understand what happened to him in the playoffs. I'm a big Bill Simmons guy. I could have a better relationship with my dad, but aside from that, I feel like I relate to him. He is just excellent. He's so good at what he does, and I don't see how he's not pissed off about everybody's comments from the playoffs and him disappearing and the Eastern Conference Finals and the finals. If Jayson Tatum can lead an only improved Celtics team to a positive record, let's just say top 3 seed, it is his. There's no way you can't say it is. I think he turns 25 halfway through the year. I might be wrong on that, but he's an excellent 3-level scorer, and the additions that they brought in with Danilo Gallinari and Malcolm Brogdon, I don't understand how that team was able to add 2 guys to a shallow roster without giving up any of their top 7 dudes. Brogdon should be an awesome addition. A second-year Derek White maybe understands the system a little bit more. Maybe Peyton Pritchard has a growth spurt at 22. That would be awesome. I'm 25. I'm waiting for my next one. Jayson Tatum is my pick for MVP this year, and he's been my pick 2 years in a row. I swear to God, if he does not win MVP, there's no way I'm predicting him next year. I'm out on the Jayson Tatum thing. So it's now or never for Tatum, and I really believe it's now. The Defensive Player of the Year award is fascinating, and I think last year, with a guard getting the award, especially Marcus Smart, such a divisive player, although excellent, I have nothing bad to say against Marcus Smart. For a non-forward or center to get the Defensive Player of the Year award this year will take an unbelievable amount of effort and an ability to quantify that effort as well. It needs to translate to wins, and I just don't see who that guy is. They're not giving it to Marcus Smart again. So if we're looking at forwards, we're looking at centers. You got to talk about guys like Giannis. You got to talk about guys like Embiid, defensive anchor. Anthony Davis, if he has a bounce-back season. If the Lakers end up a 4 seed, is that enough? I think that's interesting. But if we're being honest with ourselves, the only reason Marcus Smart won this award last year was because Bam Adebayo played 56 games. If you're under the threshold of minimum number of games played to receive an award and you miss the award just because of that, I feel like for respect, I have to pick you the next year. Bam should be awesome. And they're in the sweepstakes for Donovan Mitchell or Kevin Durant. The Bradley Beal thing, I guess, is dead with his contract signing. if they're at all better this year than their last year Eastern Conference Finals 1 seed in the East performance, you can't not give it to Bam. I feel obligated to say that if Bam were to be included in a trade for a superstar like a Kevin Durant or Donovan Mitchell, then that completely nullifies this pick, and obviously that changes everything. But I don't know why they would include him. I don't think that they can move anybody, which is sort of the problem and why there's not a deal done. But if they get Mitchell, if they get Durant, it's going to be a big three of Butler, Adebayo, Durant, Mitchell, whichever they land. They got to be careful. Butler is not going to be Butler for the next 3 to 4 years. His game probably will not age well. I know people said that about LeBron. We were wrong, but LeBron learned how to shoot, and Butler's got to prove that before we start anointing him. So their window is short. I do think they figure out a move. I don't know if they do it before the season starts, but by the deadline, I really think they find a way to make this work. Ideally, the very beginning of the season, Hero improves his value, which he had done all of last year. It's just he was hurt during the playoffs and sort of disappeared. But if Tyler Hero can improve his value as a trade chip, I see some people saying he's a better trade asset than RJ Barrett. And Barrett is a two-way player. I'm not weighing in on that. But we're talking about like, oh, I do Barrett and 3 picks for Mitchell. Hero is that guy. And if they can prove that early in the season, they've got a deal done by the deadline. And Adebayo is the defensive player of the year. That's it. Let's do coach of the year. And I don't expect the Kings coach to be coach of the year, if that tells you anything about the last 40 seconds of this video. Michael Malone, I think, has the best shot at getting this. We've been in this trend these last few years where a coach has an unbelievable breakout season and he doesn't get the award. Monty Williams and Phoenix just went through that. So the next season, he sort of has to get it. It's an honor system. So Monty Williams had the excellent breakout season the year they got Chris Paul, didn't get the award. The following year, they were the 1 seed, had an unbelievable best record in the NBA, and they're just Taylor Jenkins, I'm sorry. You know the rules. And you would think that with that sort of projection or that sort of system that's existed in the past, maybe Taylor Jenkins gets it this year. But here's the caveat. And I love this Memphis Grizzlies team, but I don't see how they improved their roster this year. For Monty Williams to get this award, he had to have the breakout season. They improved their record year over year and ended up as the 1 seed, where the Jazz were the 1 seed the year prior. The Grizzlies have to do better than they did last season, and I don't know that they take that massive of a step forward unless Desmond Bane ends up being a 25-point-per-game guy. I don't love it. Dylan Brooks is 26. Maybe he's closer to his prime. Steven Adams is getting older, but he's still 29 somehow. Someone look that up, but he's totally 29. Completely surprised when I heard that. I don't know that they end up better than the 3 seed. If they end up the 4 seed and they have a 48-win season, are we really giving Taylor Jenkins coach of the year versus a Michael Malone who has been excellent with the Nuggets, who people think are title contenders and only weren't title contenders last year because of injury? If Michael Porter Jr. is a guy, Jamal Murray opens the season on minutes restriction, but if he can remain healthy throughout the year, the addition of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a full season of Aaron Gordon. Zach Lowe was talking about how he was still amazed about the 14 or so games they played together 2 seasons ago. And Bruce Brown, Bones Highland taking another step. Zeke Nanji, something like that. I really believe in this Nuggets team, and they're probably going to be my pick for the finals this year. But I've still got another 2 months of unraveling as a Blazers fan and not trying to pretend that we're finals contenders. I haven't said that out loud yet, and it's hard to. Michael Malone is my pick for coach of the year this year. I think the Nuggets end with the best record, and I think they have one of, if not the highest chances of West teams reaching the finals. There's one award left, and it's the 6th man of the year, and I think Davion Mitchell is my pick for this award. a lot of guys you have to consider. When you're picking sixth man of the year, you're generally ending up with someone on a playoff team who can contribute and play less than 35 minutes in a non-starting role. With Ginobili and all these guys of the past, you could play a ton of minutes, and I expect Davion to play a ton of minutes. But with the size of that backcourt, De'Aaron Fox and Donovan Mitchell, I think Kevin Huerter starts, and I think that's all it takes. Davion Mitchell averaged like 16 and a half points per game in the second half of the season last year. He was an excellent playmaker. He can sort of create his own shot. His three-point shot is ridiculously inconsistent, but that doesn't mean he doesn't try. Davion Mitchell is going to be handed the keys when De'Aaron Fox isn't on the court, and I think they're going to try to stagger their minutes as much as possible. If he can just maintain the production he did past Christmas of last year, I do not see how you don't hand him the award with the asterisk that the Kings make the playoffs. If the Kings don't make the playoffs, then it's out the window with all of it. Like, obviously, you can't give a 14 seed in the West, Davion Mitchell, sixth man of the year. But if they end up as the seventh seed, even as a play-in team, I think his contributions on both ends of the floor will really be realized. Another name that I like a lot, but I think the Lonzo injury really changes, is Ayo Dosunmu. He's potentially the starter at the beginning of this year. I don't know who starts exactly, but I have to imagine it's their 6'5", 23-year-old second-round point guard. Those second-round contracts, I don't really know how exactly they work, but I do know they're shorter and there's less money guaranteed. So they're going to be incentivized to really figure out what they have before they have to make a decision in him as well. If Lonzo can't play, he is their best two-way option, and I think that probably disqualifies him from sixth man of the year conversations. I guess that's it. Let's add with a highlighter. Okay, one sec. We'll open up the marketing and accounting notebook. And I'm just going to write thank you. I really appreciate anybody who watched this. I'm doing this not as an attempt to be a sports broadcaster, but just to connect with more people who really love the game of basketball. I just moved to a new state. I live in South Carolina, and I have very few friends here. I'm hoping to figure that out. I've been here a month. I feel like it's acceptable to not have friends yet. I've got to make it work, but for the meantime, to have someone to talk to is awesome. Anybody in the comments, if you want to say what your picks for any of these awards would be, or your commentary on mine, that would be fine. Most people are just let's keep it clean. Let's make sure that we're respectful. Don't be critical of me. Dude, be mean as shit. That's okay. I'd rather have someone mean to talk to than nobody. Thank you guys for watching. I don't know how often or if I'll ever do one of these again, but I appreciate your time. Go Blazers.